It's crazy though, because it's saying that I remember so much detail, good, bad, and the ugly of my TNA days. Why can't I remember Cornette? It's so strange.
Yeah, that's hey, look. I mean, again, there's only so much you can fit in the vault, and it's one thing I want to go over in the summertime as we go through some more shows. Things you because your time in TNA, I don't even really remember as a fan, and I was watching TNA during that time pretty religiously, but I don't remember a lot of that stretch. So I kind of wanted to go through those TNA shows with you, like top to bottom, and see like what we could talk about. But it's kind of interesting because Cornette's time in TNA, he's an authority figure. He's, he's back, he's a agent, and then he's the director of whatever, and then he's this, he's that. But it just seems like when he reads these agent reports, like he really had a great take on where they should have been going with a lot of stuff, but they just like they were very stubborn, or I guess Jeff to Dixie was very stubborn about the direction they wanted to move TNA. And I mean, look, it stayed around for as long as it has, so all power to them, but it just could have been so much bigger at the time. And I think had they listened to Cornette, they really could have taken off like big time. And I don't know if the clash with him, and we'll get to Russo next, if that played such a big part, but having both of them at the same time, like you got to give them credit that they were able to contain the two of them together at the same time, for as long as they did. That's magic in itself. But if they had listened to him, some of the feedback he was giving, I mean, it really could have played a big part. But that's one of the goals I have for this summer, is for us to go through your TNA time a little bit deeper, because now we know you got to get into it a little bit more to remember some of those TNA shows.
Dude, you just triggered what it is. Oh, I'm so glad we had this conversation because this bothers me. I am confusing my experience with Cornette with OVW. Point in case, when I slipped, when I was even talking just a few minutes ago, and who were like, "You mean TNA?" And I was like, "What did I say?" Like, even then, like, I had to know what did I say? Didn't I say TNA? I guess I didn't. I think my brain switched, and I think the experiences I had with him, I'm remembering them because they were at TNA, not OVW. And what backs that up is that date that you pulled out, because
Yeah.
it wasn't OVW. When I said, "No, I remember, like, him being around and, like, talking with," that's what it is that was TNA, not OVW. Oh my
So if he was,
god!
yeah, because I mean, if your first date was the Santino incident, he's fired, he's gone. So you really would have only spent whatever the first literal like infancy, walking through the door, shaking people's hands,
Yes.
getting to your initial impression of what the building was like, and then he's fired, and then Heyman comes in, right, and then that's or Heyman takes over, I think,
That's where my
from him.
obsession began.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so the stuff that
That's
you're
what
thinking
it
from OB Dub is more.
is.
And granted, he was still around Louisville. It's not like he
Right,
left.
right,
He still lives there.
right.
But yeah. So okay. So again, we'll dig more into Cornette, because I think that there's some repairment that needs to happen, because I think what happens over time with him is like, I don't know, like when he doesn't see you or he doesn't experience you, I think that he just tends to think the negative for a while, and I don't know if he probably reviewed your one of your matches.
My vag match?
He probably reviewed that at some point. I'm gonna have to go
That's
dig into that,
fine.
and
That's
that
fine.
may be one of those things he sticks in the front of his brain. But again, like I, I can't say enough professionally of how great of a guy he was to work with and do the Midnight Express reunion. He was so instrumental in like having the entire event like be perfect. And that was the last convention that I hosted. And it was, to me, it was my favorite one that I ever did, because he was so good about putting it together that, I'll never have a negative impression of him because of his professionalism. And it sucks I have no contact with him anyway because of the go between we had at the time. I have no contact
Gotcha.
with. So,
Well,
but again, different capacity for us.
here's the thing. I love that you want to revisit my TNA days because as I mentioned early on our when we first started, I call it TNA days because it was a days. And I forgot a lot of stuff too. And I love that there's this account that follows me on Twitter called Diva Crave. And they'll
Yeah.
always be like, on this day, LAX, da da da. And like what they just did one, I retweeted, I always retweet with Matt Morgan involved, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I don't even remember this, like, I need to watch this," like, and or moments will happen that I forgot about or I think about a lot, and then this Diva Crave account, thank you, they always are tagging me and stuff, and so I think it'll be really cool to revisit because as much love as Kevin Thorne and Ariel get, which is duh, who wouldn't? I feel LAX sometimes takes the back seat, and there is no back seat. They're uncomparable. Like, that's when people would ask me, "Which one did you like better, Ariel or Salinas?" It's like, I can't tell you which one was better. It's 2 different entities and 2 different times in my life.
Right.
So, what I had with Kevin was super special and unique. What I had with Homicide and Hernandez, and even Hector, but mostly Homicide and Hernandez, was very special and unique. That's why they couldn't and it's no dissing anyone else that joined LAX after me, but it was never that same vibe ever. And I'm proud of that. Like, I'm proud that they didn't try to replace me per se, you know what I mean? Like, "Oh, be this character that Shelly was." They just evolved what LAX was, and that's
It's
cool,
a great
but,
point. That's a
you
great
know
point. They continued LAX, but they didn't replace you per se. They didn't replicate what you were. They just continued LAX for a long time. I mean, they
Right.
really kind of just disbanded like 3 or 4 years ago. But that's a damn good point.
Because they knew no one could replace me. Here's the thing, somebody had tagged me or in that one that I retweeted, there's a screenshot of or a little graphic of the match, and there's me, and I have this bandana top on, and the story behind that was, I don't know the details, and I try to ask Homicide, he's like, "I don't remember." I'm like, "Damn you!" But there was this vibe at TNA that they would go to Homicide to tell me what to do. Like, "Oh, Shelly shouldn't be wearing those shorts. Tell her not to wear shorts. Tell her to wear pants." And so so what ended up happening is we made a joke of it to where, like, if Vince Russo was right there and he just got done telling Homicide something, I'd say, "Hey, Vince, do you have something that you need to tell me?" And then he'd be like, "Yeah, why don't you tell her what you guys just told me? You guys pulled me as," and so we would make fun of it to their faces. So you would think they would be like, "Okay, let's just," and I can't tell you how many times I had expressed, "Look, this is my character. Talk to me about if I need to change something, no problem. That's not a problem at all. You need me to tweak something, no problem. But tell me.
Yeah.
Don't go through Homicide. It's my character. I gave birth to her. And I made everything that no one once told me what to do with Selena's, just like with Ariel. I created it and they chose me in those roles because they knew I knew what I was doing.
Right.
So they kept getting on me about my outfits, and this is at the point where I'm already the girl or whatever, but they wouldn't say anything. So what I did is they kept telling me about these shorts that I had. And so instead I was like, "Okay, I'll put the pants on." So I put the pants on and I got my bandanas backstage and I got like double-sided tape so I knew for sure I was taped in. And out of my bandanas, I made a top to give them like a F you. "Okay, you're gonna like keep going to Homicide about my shorts. Okay, I'll put pants on. But now I'm gonna piss you off by making the teeniest, tiniest little top out of my bandanas, and I'm gonna go on TV wearing just that." So that was
Perfect.
So I gotta go look and see that match because I just remember being mad and like that was my big fu to them. All right, I'll put
Yeah.
here's my top. Be like my top.
We'll figure out like what's the best way to go about it. But I mean, I already wrote it down. We're gonna call it TMI's TNA Daze.